Greetings, Imperial citizens. Thank you for choosing to watch. I'm Anthony. This is the first of 3 communiques in preparation for a new time-lapse video for my updated and expanded 1200 Trooper Army, which I call the 88th Eternal Battalion. Click here for the grand plan. In this video, I'm tackling an issue that's been plaguing collectors since the dawn of plastics: yellowing. There are a lot of figure whitening videos out there, and most methods work exactly as advertised. The problem is, your figures will re-yellow if not displayed or stored under the proper conditions, cool temperatures, and away from sunlight. I may have found a stopgap to prevent re-yellowing. For Star Wars collectors, this issue has been with us from the very beginning, when our Stormtroopers, Princess Leia's, Biker Scouts, Wampas, and others yellowed over time. In the modern line, we've seen yellowing with every Stormtrooper and Clone Trooper up until about the late 2000s, including the nicely detailed 2006 Vintage Saga Collection Biker Scout. It was about this time that Hasbro began addressing this issue by adjusting the chemical ingredients that makes up the figure's torsos. Starting with the Legacy Collection Space Trooper, Han and Luke Stormtroopers, a slightly modified reissue of the original VOTC Stormtrooper, Joker Squad, and the repaints of the 2006 Vintage Saga Collection Biker Scout, as well as the updated Toys R Us exclusive and Gaming Greats versions. I have over 180 Stormtroopers and Biker Scouts that have yellowed, and I can whiten them again. That's the easy part. The hard part is keeping them white, because the chemical deficiencies that cause yellowing in the first place remain. But first, what causes yellowing? For that, I turn to our Imperial chemist, Dr. K. Know-all.
Yes, Imperial citizen. Hello, this is most simple. Acrylic nitrile butadiene styrene or ABS is very common plastic. Many things degrade ABS plastic, but ultraviolet light is worse. Very powerful. Along with heat and oxygen in air, most destructive atom, by the way, oxygen, butadiene is heavily affected because of conjugated carbon. UV light naturally emitted by sun attack plastic in high energy wave. Energy wave knock off one electron from hydrogen. Electron low pairs, so hydrogen atom now free. Free radical, that is crazy. These free radicals bounce through plastic molecules, break up bonds. This bond, that bond, all bonds even after the sun is gone. And oxygen, all around us, always there, always oxidized, attached to carbon. See? Simple. This make color ugly yellow, make plastic brittle and weak. Tragically, there is no cure.
Wait, what?
Unless, of course, you use more UV light and hydrogen peroxide.
More UV light?
That's what I said. More UV light, hydrogen peroxide, and vodka. Not for dowsing plastic. UVB light to be exact, because shorter, more powerful wavelength excite electron more. Submerge in hydrogen peroxide or H2O2. This reverse yellow process. Remove pesky atom from carbon and pair hydrogen electron again. But after hydrogen peroxide UV bath, UV waves start process all over again. So keep out of UV light and heat and oxygen. And definitely vodka. All right, that's all I got, Dad.
Thanks, Grace. Dr. K. Know-all. So, that's a trick. Preventing the yellowing from happening all over again. I've whitened these troopers before. Unfortunately, they yellowed again naturally. Perhaps even faster this time. I'm going to try it again. This time, I'm going to treat the figures with a UV coating in an effort to stave off yellowing. To whiten your yellowed action figures, you need the following supplies: hydrogen peroxide. In my case, a UV lamp or the sun. Glass containers. In my case, gloves, goggles, and doggy pads. I'm also using mirrors to maximize UV light's potency. Simple, over-the-counter hydrogen peroxide is all you need. 3% works. 12% is available at your local beauty salon. The higher the percentage, the faster it works. When I originally whitened my troopers, I placed them in a glass jar filled with 3% hydrogen peroxide and set them in the sun. This time, I'm taking a more controlled approach. I'm placing the figures in the glass casserole dishes and then filling them with the 12% hydrogen peroxide. And now for an important safety message. When you're using hydrogen peroxide, especially anything greater than 3%, use gloves and goggles. Trust me. Instead of the sun, I'm using UV lamps for consistent ultraviolet waves. If you can't use the sun, I highly recommend using a UVB lamp, which you can pick up at your local pet store. UVB lamps help reptiles produce vitamin D because they emit a shorter ultraviolet wavelength. This means they're more powerful than your standard black light or UV light. Now, they run a little hot, so please use in an open space and monitor carefully. The mirrors are being placed underneath to help maximize UV penetration. After 2 to a few days, your figures will whiten. However, as stated previously, the trick is keeping them white. I don't have a controlled environment, so I need to take extra precautions when removing my figures from their hydrogen peroxide UV bath. Red is the longest visible wavelength, so for safety, I'm using red light when removing my figures from the hydrogen peroxide. I recommend using a tungsten bulb over LED because not all LED red lights are darkroom safe. I'm placing them in a light tight box to dry until the final step, protecting your newly whitened figures with a clear UV resistant coating. This is highly subject to preference because you're essentially customizing the original figure. There are many UV protections available. Krylon Crystal Clear Spray is the most common and available in both gloss and matte. I, however, decided to use Golden's Gloss Polymer Varnish because I can hand paint each figure and not have to worry about masking 180 figures for spray painting. Be sure to read the directions on all coating products carefully for safe and proper use. Once your figure is coated with a UV protection sealant, it should remain white. Only time will tell.
And that's it. That's all for this communique. This one's a bit tricky because I wanted to be as accurate as possible with the science behind the yellowing process. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments section, correct me if I got something wrong, or just have something to add to the conversation. Now that we know exactly what's going on chemically, perhaps we could all put our heads together and come up with an even better solution. Or maybe this is just another futile exercise in alchemy. And now, it's time for you to do your part for the Empire. Like, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and await the next transmission.
Ah, yes! Imperial citizen! Hello! 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 This is most simple. Hello.